This year, protect your boat, RV, camper, or summer car with indoor storage available at the Niagara Falls Airport Center for Commerce at 9400 Porter Road in Niagara Falls. Secure, alarmed, and monitored, the Niagara Falls Airport Center for Commerce, now available for winter storage. Get the details. Call Mike Grenga now at 716-799-4259. The Niagara Falls Airport Center for Commerce, now available for indoor and outdoor storage this winter on Porter Road in Niagara Falls. Listen closely to these symptoms: inflammation, nausea, hot flashes, headaches, joint pain, muscle pain, back pain, trouble sleeping, cramps, irritated skin. This is just a partial list, but if you said you have any of those symptoms, you might benefit from the power of CBD. What is CBD? Well, it's all the good taken out of the hemp plant, the marijuana plant, all the good taken out, but none of the bad. Now, you won't get high from it, you won't fail a drug test, but what you will do is find relief from these and many more symptoms. And it comes in a variety of applications. Well, there's oils, there's gummies, there's candies, there's vapes, there's rubs, there's soaks. The list goes on, and as a matter of fact, it's too numerous for me to mention here. But I'll tell you what you do. If you stop in at the Wellness Park Pharmacy, 86th and Buffalo Avenue, see Bob there, tell him you want to look in the green room. What's the green room? Well, it's a room dedicated to all CBD products. And Bob is a registered pharmacist, so he can explain to you how CBD works and what dosage is right for you. Now, you could buy CBDs in other places, but you really want to go to a registered pharmacist. You're going to be surprised and amazed, and you know what? You're going to love this product. CBD. Stop in Wellness Park, 86th and Buffalo Avenue, or call 260-1918. Oh, incidentally, if you have an animal that's suffering too, maybe joint pain or anxiety, CBD products works well for them, and there's some made especially for your animals. You can check that out too in the Wellness Park Green Room.
The opinions expressed on NiagaraBroadcastNetwork.com are those of the host and the guest, not of management or the sponsors.
Hey, we got the county clerk with us tonight, Joe Jastrzemski. Our telephone lines will be open at 333-3020. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing great,
I've been
Sal.
trying to get you back here for a while now.
Yeah, it's been awful busy. I want to wish you and your listeners a Happy New Year, naturally, and a good, safe, and Happy New Year. And it's always a pleasure to come on your show.
I'm sitting and I'm shaking my head, and I'm trying to think of what's going on, and I can't figure it out. We got bail reform. We got this green light law. What's the latest with the green light law?
It's out of control.
Tell us
It's
about
out of control. Sal, it's not about driver safety, and it's all about letting these people get a driver's license that looks like yours and mine. It's a driver's license that's going to let them come into our state and ultimately become a citizen by going underground, because they're going to come in, they're going to get this driver's license. They ultimately could register to vote. Even though they're not a U.S. citizen, that's not going to stop them. When they come into our office, you got that customer-facing device there. And if they say, yes, I want to register to vote, and they register to vote, there's no safeguards out there whatsoever to stop it. You talk about...
But hold on a minute, Joe. This is the part that's confusing me. The people who put this into effect know that it's ridiculous to get a driver's license and say, do you want to vote? And they know that these people are now illegal aliens that are getting the driver's licenses. And they should not be allowed to vote according to the law. Am I correct on that?
Felony. It's a felony.
Okay. So they know this, but yet they are okaying it. Is this just a grab so, say, 2 million people in New York City vote for the Democrats? I mean, I cannot understand it at all.
Bingo. You hit it right on the button. Look what just happened this past Thursday. This past Thursday, the state Senate, which is controlled by Democrats, just passed a law that says everybody that comes into a DMV office and gets a driver's license will be registered to vote, unless you opt out. Now, I'll take it one step farther.
They don't have to ask. They don't have to
They
ask.
don't have to ask.
It's automatic.
Automatic. They're automatically registered to vote.
And they're giving, you aren't, but they're giving licenses to illegal aliens, and that would mean they are automatically registered.
Correct. Automatically registered. Now, if Joe Jastrzemski's in the country illegally, and he's registered to vote, and he goes and votes, and Sal Panessa says, wait a minute, this guy voted, and he's a legal immigrant. He shouldn't be allowed to vote. He's committing a felony. But if now law enforcement comes to arrest me, and I plead ignorance, oh, I didn't know I wasn't allowed to register to vote. I thought I was registered to vote. I didn't know I couldn't do it. You can't prosecute them. They walk. That's built into the law, Sal. Come on. What is it about? If it really was about vote or about driver's safety, they would have given these illegal immigrants a document, a driver's license that said for driving only, and they would have built in some safeguards there that would make them go become a U.S. citizen, just like my daughter-in-law did. My daughter-in-law is from Colombia. Is married to my son. She's a U.S. citizen because she did everything right. It took her 2.5 years to become a U.S. citizen. That's a slap in the face to her and any other immigrant that came into our country and did it properly. Here they're going to give these people a driver's license, the right to drive, a privilege. They're going to let them have an opportunity to register to vote and vote in our elections, presidential and local and state, and they put $27 million in the budget last year to let illegal immigrants go to college for free.
And you, running the Niagara County DMVs, are saying no to the green light law. You're not giving, an alien comes in and wants a license, what do you tell them?
We have them give us the paperwork, and we tell them we'll call them. We have not processed not a one. We have a lawsuit going on, Sal. We were supposed to go before Judge Caruso tomorrow, State Supreme Court, but it's been postponed till this February 6th. And we have a lawsuit, and our lawsuit is strong, and it's really about voter fraud and the fact there are no safeguards. We were at our county clerk's conference this past weekend here Sunday and Monday, and the commissioner was there with some of his staff, and we said to him, look it, why can't you turn off that customer device so they can't register to vote? The answer, we can't. Why not? Okay, if you can't because of the voter motor law that they passed and negotiated with the federal government. So we said then, okay, if you can't turn it off, why don't you build it in so that you have to put in your social security number, so when it goes to the Board of Election, they know Joe Jastrzemski has a social security card number, he's a U.S. citizen, so then now Board of Election can process Joe Jastrzemski that he can vote. But if you don't have your social security card number on there and you registered, now you got to call in Sal Panessa to show you that the Board of Election that in fact you are a U.S. citizen.
And the answer to that was?
Sorry.
Sorry.
We'll get back to you. You know, they don't want that, Sal. It's all about voter fraud. They'll deny it. They'll say to the hilt, no, it's not. You know, if they register to vote, it's illegal. They shouldn't be able to do that. But yet they won't put a safeguard in place so they can. Why? I know, talking to my fellow clerks in downstate New York, that they're registering to vote. Illegal immigrants are when they get their driver's license.
Now I'm hearing, maybe you could explain this to me because I'm not too clear on what's going on. Police officers, when they stop somebody driving, they run their driver's license. Now, if they find out, I don't know if it would say on there how they would know, but if they feel that they are an illegal immigrant living here against the law, they are not allowed. They have to sign some type of an agreement that says they will not share DMV information with the federal agents. In other words, as a police officer, you stop somebody, you see they're an illegal immigrant, or I don't know how they would see that on the license, I don't know what it says, but you feel that they are, you cannot share the DMV information that came from the Department of Motor Vehicles to the state with the federal agents to say, I believe this person is illegal. If you do, you may lose your opportunity to run license plates and with car registrations and everything from the state. Is this?
That is correct. What
Explain
you're
this to me.
saying. The-
It's not making any sense to me, and I'm just,
Well, you know, when they run this DMV plate and it comes up, you know, who it belongs to in your driver's license, they run your driver's license, the photo recognition would come up on that. And what they did was they made law enforcement sign this document that says they would not share this information with Immigration and Customs, ICE. And if you don't sign it, we're going to block you from having access to this site, to the DMV site. So, which would preclude law enforcement from doing their job. And, you know, there were, from what I understand, there were about 78 law enforcement agencies that did not sign that, and they were blocked out because they didn't do it in the course of the deadline. So, last count I heard this morning, that was down to 58 because there were a number that did join up and sign up because of, you know, what exactly happened was it precluded them from doing their job. Now, I personally wish that the Sheriff's Association and all law enforcement would have taken this to, taken the DMV to court in regards to that, just like we did, because they're restricting them from doing their job. And
Well,
it all has to do with this,
yeah.
this dreaded law.
And I talked to one officer, he said, you know what? We signed it that we will not share DMV information. He said, we know when we come across somebody, if they can't speak English, if they don't look like an American, we could tell if they can't give us an address, they don't work. He says there's a number of signs that would cause me to go, this is possibly an illegal alien. I'm going to call the Border Patrol to check them out because they have their own ways to check without going through DMV. So he says, we don't really need that information. And to put that blinder on the police is a big hindrance in checking car registrations and insurance and all that type of thing.
You know, Sal, we got terrible training on this. When I say the DMV from the state, in regards to how this was supposed to be rolled out, and, you know, they changed all the point systems. You still got to have 6 points now, but they've really watered it down so that all these illegal immigrants would
6
be
point. What do
easy.
you explain when you say you got to
6
have
points. You know, you used to be able have to bring your birth certificate, and bring a passport, and, you know, bring a place where you live.
for what?
To get your point system so that you can be able to get a driver's license.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Okay.
And they, you know, for women, they had to show how for women to get a real ID, you have to show how you went from Catherine Trousseau to Catherine Jastrzemski and so on and so forth. You got to show that paper trail. But with this non-driver ID, now they've watered down the system so much. And there's been so many changes. And we got about a 45-minute webinar on how we're supposed to process these driver's licenses. It was an absolute joke. And then they give us this machine, this verification machine. I talked with some leaders from Immigration and Customs that laughed and said that thing's a joke.
What does it do?
You're supposed to take a foreign passport and they're supposed to tell you whether it's a legal passport or a forged passport, or if it's, a legal document. Do you know how many forgeries are out there? Sal, I'm talking with Immigration and Customs. They told me that the forgeries are so good that there was a gentleman, a boy, that was 22 years old. And he was claiming he was 17 years old. He come over here, he forged it, had a forged birth certificate, and he come over here to play in the U.S. so he could get a scholarship to play at the collegiate level. And one of the other coaches thought, this kid looked way too old to be a 17-year-old kid. So he called in Immigration and Customs. They got this birth certificate. They had to send it to Washington for forensics to prove that it was indeed a forgery. That's how much is out there. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I know they're making, I know they're forging a lot of things, but the licenses, now they have like a little, emblem in there that you can actually get a special glass and look into. Do they still do that?
I don't know, the license now that, the plastic things that, that we're giving out today's,
Right.
Those are hard to forge. But I'm talking about foreign documents that we're supposed to be accepting. We have this list that we go by. There are a number of different things. But, I can't even say enough about how bad this law is. Think about it now. From now until October 1st of 2020, so we're talking another, 7, 8 months, right?
Sure. Something
Oh,
like
that's
that.
7, 6, June, July, August,
Pretty close.
10 months.
Okay.
We're talking 10 months.
Yeah.
That this driver's license, that's a non-federal driver's license, non-federal ID, not for federal purposes, will get you on an airplane. It'll get you in an Army base. It'll get you a number of different places because, the real ID hasn't kicked in yet until August 1st of 2020. And I tried to ask the governor, we as state clerks asked the governor to take their time to roll this out and let's work out the bugs. Let's talk about these customer-facing devices. Let's talk about how we can not have voter fraud. And they turned a blind eye to it. And you know what they told us? If we know somebody registered to vote, we're not supposed to say and stop them. We're just supposed to let it happen. We got a directive of that. And we got one of the best attorneys.
If you know somebody is committing a felony by voting when they're not supposed to, you were told
Registering to vote.
you were told not to do
Not
anything.
to do it, not to stop them, not to turn a blind eye to it.
Why? What do they say?
We're not supposed to confront them whatsoever. That's what the directive we're getting from the state DMV leadership is
Okay,
telling
you're
us.
not supposed to confront them, but do you call somebody who will confront them? Or just forget
I
it?
know I'm gonna. We haven't had one happen in Niagara County because we haven't processed any.
Yeah.
But if I was downstate New York and this was going on, you could bet I would be sending each one of these names to my Board of Election and say, hey, Joe Schmo registered to vote, and he doesn't have a Social Security card, and I believe he's an illegal immigrant and registered. You could bet, and I directed all my staff, if at any time we get to that point, that's exactly what we're supposed to do. You know what they did in Erie County is because they actually did have somebody register to vote over there, and to Mickey Kern's credit, he got it. He took it to his Board of Election, and his Board of Elections investigated it, and in fact, this guy's in trouble because he did register to vote. So now they've implemented a system there.
But you said if he pleads ignorant, they can't do anything?
Well, that's the law. That's what was passed in the Senate, the new law. That hasn't gone through the Assembly yet. That was just passed in the Assembly, and it hasn't gone to the governor for signature yet. So this was under the old
Are these
law.
people that desperate for votes that they need to go to this?
Apparently
Are they
downstate
that
they are.
desperate to win, to keep their jobs, that they have to do this? Because I don't know how many in New York City, but I'm assuming this is all about New York City, and all the illegals there will get their license and go to college and do whatever, and it's so they will vote Democrats. I mean, it just seems to me, I could be wrong, that's my interpretation of, because I can't think of a reason in the world why you would want to do this.
It's all about downstate New York, and that's where the control is. Let's face it, Sal, I mean, it is what it is. That's what we're dealing with, you know. I mean, I don't know if people really realize what one vote could do. I mean, there are elections that are won and lost by one vote. I know my first primary I lost when I ran. I lost my primary by 13 votes. I mean, that hurts. And I know look at just what happened in Niagara Falls here with one of the council races. It came down to a small amount of votes.
Sure,
I
yeah.
mean, voting is our constitutional right. I mean, it's what our democracy is made of. And yet, our state government, our Democratic state senators and assemblymen and governor are making a mockery of it, a mockery of it. They should be ashamed of themselves as U.S. citizens.
If you want to talk with Joe Jastrzemski, the county clerk, is with us tonight. 333-3020 is the number. We'll be here for about another 15, 20 minutes. 333-3020. Got a question about this, or I'm still shaking my head. I got some more questions that'll be coming up. 333-3020. Let's get real for a moment. When you're looking for a home appliance repairman, what do you look for? Well, in most cases, you look for someone who can do the job honestly and do it correctly the first time. Then you look for someone who's reasonable, someone who's going to give you a fair price for the work he does. Well, I got one that's even better than that. He'll give you the best price you're going to ever hear. His name is Chris Moore, and his service call is $35. Got a problem with the stove, refrigerator, freezer, washer, dryer, hey, you name it. If it's a home appliance, Chris can fix it, and he does it for a $35 service call, plus the cost of the parts and installation. Now, I don't know of any other repairman who's had as much experience, over 30 years, as Chris Moore, who will come to your home for a $35 service call. You know, once you have Chris at your house, you're going to want him back again and again and again, and you're going to recommend him to all your friends and relatives. So you want to have that phone number handy. So what do? Well, let's update. Let's not put it on a piece of paper and stick it somewhere where it's going to get lost or fall off, dry up, and disappear. Put it in your cell phone where you know you can find it when you need it, because you know someday you will need Chris Moore's number. It's 523-5911. Chris Moore's Appliance Repair. $35 service call plus the cost of the parts and installation. 523-5911. Put that in your cell phone right now. Good idea. You will need that number someday, guarantee. Chris's Appliance. Joe Jastrzemski, the county clerk, is with us. I'm just, we're talking about this green light law, and we're talking about illegals getting licenses, and I know that's a small percentage of what the county clerk does. You handle the DMVs, but how much time is this taken up out of your other duties, pistol permit clerk, and the other things that you do for the records in the county and that?
Well, this has really consumed a lot of my time because, we're fighting it. We're fighting it in the courts. I'm working with my fellow county clerks throughout the state to try and figure out what we can do and how we can protect, as I said, our democracy and our voting, and making sure that we keep the integrity of what goes on here in New York State in regards to the election and election laws. I can't even begin to tell you how difficult it is, but I will tell you this. We need to talk about, I mentioned it and just touched on it briefly, about October of 2020, that you have to have a real ID driver's license or passport to get on an airplane. So it's very important that our citizens know that here in New York State, because if you don't, you're not going to get on an airplane. Now, I got some concerns, and we brought them up to the Commissioner Schroeder on Monday in regards to the enhanced driver's license, because I have people calling me at my office and telling me, hey, I went to board on a plane in San Diego, And they told me if I don't have a American flag on the corner of my driver's license, I'm not going to be able to get on an airplane.
That's what
Without
they
a
knew.
flag
Yeah.
on my license or without a passport. And you told me that your enhanced driver's license is good for domestic flying. And we brought that question back up to Schroeder, and he says, well, he says, we're hearing that too, but, it's just a matter of educating TSA throughout the,
So by
US.
the deadline again is if you want to travel on a plane, you have to have what type of license?
A real ID, driver's license, or a passport.
And to get that, you need what?
To get that, you need to have, need to have your birth certificate. You need to show, some type of, your real birth certificate. You need to have a credit card. You need to come up with all the point systems in order to be able to get that, to prove that you are, in fact, Joe Jastrzemski. You got to have your social security number. You got to have that type of documents.
So if you
to
need,
get this real ID.
if a person wants to get all these things together, could they go to a website to look at what they need?
Yeah, you
before-
can go to your New York State website to get that. You can stop into one of our DMV offices. I have a pull-out and a pamphlet that you can take home with you and look at to make sure you got the proper documents. It's really, really important for females because, you have to show how you became, as I mentioned,
Change your name.
change of names.
yeah.
If you went from one name to your married name, then you got divorced, and then you got another married name,
Sure.
and it doesn't match your driver's license.
Yeah.
You got to show that paper trail, which is really silly because
Till they
if-
pass something stupid saying, you just have to come in and sign this and you'll be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
until they pass something silly.
Real quick, Joe, we're just about out of time, but real quick, the pistol permits, renewable, when?
Renewables, no, that's a great question, Sal. Thanks for bringing that up. Now, anybody that got their pistol permit in 2015, now you have to recertify. It's important that you recertify. You can either come to our office, we'll help you. If you're in Niagara Falls, we're at the Trot Building, on the fourth Wednesday of the month, or you can go to the New York State Police website and prompt onto there for recertification.
Do it right there.
But it's important, every 5 years you need to recertify. And then if you come to our office and do it, we'll print you out a new card, and it'll have your next date on there when you have to recertify, so you'll know. I took that on, asked our vendors to be able to do that, and it's important that you do that. Because, as we move on forward, the state police are not going to notify you.
Will they take your guns?
Well, the law says that if you don't recertify every 5 years, you're basically your permit is not valid anymore. So you could be ultimately committing a felony if you didn't recertify. It's been revoked. You get pulled over. Yada yada.
A lot of
yada.
information tonight, Joe. Sickening information as far as I'm concerned. Not from you, but what the state is doing to us. People, who could they talk to complain to or talk with? Who? Senators? Who?
Governor, because I will tell you this, Senator Ort's been a strong supporter of ours in the fight against what has happened here in Albany. I can tell you Assemblyman Norris and Assemblyman Angelo Morinello have been strong opponents against these laws, and they're fighting the fight for you, but we're fighting a tough fight. Let me tell you, it's important if you know people that are downstate in the New York City and the Long Island region, wherever that might be, the other side of Albany, if you've got relatives down there, tell them to come out and support, the people that are passing these laws. You want to make sure that we remove these people from
Joe Jastrzemski, ladies and gentlemen, our county clerk. A lot of information. Tell your friends to watch because this is an important show. What do you look for in a liquor store? Selection, great prices, plenty of fast, courteous cashiers to make checkout quick and easy. How about a store that's open 7 days a week till midnight Friday and Saturday? If that sounds good to you, then you'll love Supermarket Liquors and Wines in the Millpine Plaza at Niagara Falls Boulevard at Military Road. They're Niagara's largest liquor store, which means Niagara's best selection, Niagara's best prices. You can check out their weekly specials anytime at supermarketliquor.com. And if you enjoy a good bourbon, rum, or tequila, then you have to check out the personally selected, specially bottled bourbon, rum, and tequila at Supermarket Liquors and Wines, bottled especially for them, but really especially for you. And because Supermarket Liquors is so large, a great selection doesn't have to be expensive. Stop in and see for yourself. Supermarket Liquors and Wines, Niagara Falls Boulevard at Military Road. Open 7 days a week for your convenience.